Hello, this is your captain speaking, and welcome back to Life, the Universe, and Everything, your daily stream of consciousness resource. And with me is once again the ever awesome Matt.
Hi. Thanks for the amazing intro.
Yeah,
Ever awesome. I like
I
it.
thought that was brilliant. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Samsung.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Enthusiasm
Now-
is real.
Yeah, I'm first of all probably get our biases and opinions out the way at the start. He has a Samsung phone. It's an old one. I hate Samsung with a passion.
Really? Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
even know this.
No.
Oh wait, did you say this last episode? Wait, you
Yes.
might have. Okay, never mind. I remember.
Anyway, but this episode has nothing to do with my personal biases, or at least I hope not. But I personally think that Samsung is in a lot of trouble.
Why?
Well, their smartphone, at least in their smartphone division, because
You don't think the
They own
Samsung S5s and so forth are not doing well?
I don't disagree that they're not doing well, but they're not doing fantastically, let's say. And I've got rather more concerns about how the Samsung Galaxy S6 is going to do.
When's
be
that
honest.
coming out?
Probably
Supposedly.
sometime next year.
Oh.
So a long time off yet, but
Do you wanna
the
see?
fact is, although Samsung were the real first pioneers of all sorts of different... Did you really have to type that?
I wasn't gonna interrupt you. But I ended up interrupting you anyways. But is there even a
Right.
second bed? There isn't. How did we sleep the first time? Oh,
There were two of them. I'll go
Creeper
sleep back in
blew
the
up the.
base.
Oh right.
Oh, I'm... Now you go to a bed. I've got one in here.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. But really, the smartphone division of Samsung's business accounts for a major part of it.
hmm
That was descriptive.
However, there is a lot of
Yeah, but they...
there is a lot of
So-
other stuff that's also descriptive that they are part of.
Yes, that's definitely very true. And this argument is just that only their smartphone sector is really in trouble, which, while it constitutes a significant portion of their business,
And so,
if they
who do you
lose it,
think is
then-
who do you think is going to be not against, but who do you think is going to be the most threat to their business?
honestly, okay, so for this argument, let's take Apple out of the picture and assume that fundamentally Apple and Samsung are aiming at quite different target markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they do compete with each other, but let's say even best case scenario for Samsung, that wasn't the case. Apple didn't exist. They really sell two types of smartphones: their flagship high-end ones, and a wide variety of very cheap, purely functional ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And both of those seem to be in trouble. Their flagship ones, while they're pretty good, they are by no means brilliant compared to lots of things out there. And what's really been sustaining them for a long time is the colossal amount that they put into advertising of the things. So
That is
At
true. They do have a
the
lot of
high end-
advertisement.
yeah, so at the high end of the market, I would argue that they're under a lot of pressure from other Android smartphone makers, including the Nexus phones and also LG's
However,
phones.
Nexus
which you
phones are
don't-
geared for different people. They're geared for lower end.
They are good. Yes, most of them.
Most, yeah.
There is also a wide, but I'd say that they're under threat from both LG and HTC mainly at the high end of the market.
Do we have many
And-
LG smartphones though available in per se Canada? Because I know there's some really cool LG ones, but they're only available in the U.S. Or at least because they can only be. Oh no, this is gonna hurt. They can only be bought if you get them with a contract, and the contract, the ISP or no, not internet. What's the word for the provider of cell phone stuff?
Carriers.
Yes, yeah, that
Carriers.
they're only available in the U.S. So there's some cool LG ones that I know I'd kind of like one of the one that's semi like self-repairing. That would be a cool one, but that's only available in the U.S. So like, how many higher end LG phones do we actually have available? Like all around everywhere.
I'm not sure. Honestly, in terms of the global smartphone market, Canada is not the most important
not great, not the best.
metric. So while LG's worldwide presence might not be as good as Samsung's, they definitely do have a preference in most of the major markets, at least.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'd say the high end is in business, and it's not measurably better than any of their competitors, and that the only reason it's doing so well in the moment is their huge amount of advertising they do, which, to be honest, 95% of their advertising is versus Apple, right?
Yeah.
So-
Well, because Apple's probably one of the
Targeting other
biggest
smartphones, but
competitors.
usually Apple in particular.
Yep. And
And this
I
isn't
can
a
see
criticism of Samsung, it's just a statement of facts. That's what they do. And their biggest arguments for years that they've been pummeling at the wall again and again are firstly the increased screen size of Samsung phones versus Apple ones, which in the
Which-
last few weeks has gotten a lot more, or a lot less of a thing, right?
But that was one of the reasons why Apple changes, because they started seeing a lot of people wanted larger sizes. So it's kind of
Yes.
not necessarily from Samsung only, but partially from Samsung, who makes larger screen sizes, that kind of made Apple, I don't know, I don't want to say convert, but like, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
change.
but force their hand on the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that they've been advertising the past few months has been their great big wall huggers campaign, in which they've accused iPhones
what?
of having a really
Wall
low
hugger?
battery life.
Oh, that makes
Yes,
sense.
as
That's
in
fun. I
you've
get a
got to
wall.
hug the wall
That's a good one.
Obviously, it's not a very effective marketing campaign, seeing as you haven't heard of it. But
Then again, I don't hear about a lot of things. Which is why I'm part
Fair
of the
enough.
show.
yeah, he's a knowledgeable guy who has opinions on not very much,
Yeah, essentially.
apparently. But, and honestly, that claim isn't entirely true very much. If you look at independent metrics of the Samsung Galaxy S5 battery life versus even the iPhone 5S, sure, the Samsung phones have the bigger battery, but the iPhones have a smaller screen, a lower pixel density, and a more optimized use of their battery life. So they're roughly comparable. Anyway, this wasn't supposed to be a discussion about Apple. Stop
blame you.
trying to make it that way. Do
Um,
you have any food anywhere, by the way?
no, you're gonna have to starve.
Brilliant, thanks.
Yes, I have some steak on me. Why can't I get this to work? Oh wait, that's why.
Could you drop some down, do you think?
There's one.
Thank you.
Oh no, you said some. That means more than one. There you go. But I personally think I was being serious. I personally think that Samsung actually isn't that bad, and or like not bad, but not that bad off. Just because I think they're doing all right in my opinion. But then again, I'm not sure about sales and everything, so I'm not sure how much of that is going to be actually true.
I'm not
but
sure
I don't
about
think they're doing terrible.
sales figures. Then again, the point where they're probably strongest is in their high-end smartphones, right? Their flagship line. So I'd say that their low-end line, which is an absolutely massive part of their business, they sell a huge number of cheap phones, maybe at lower profit margins, but they sell a colossal number of them. I'd say they're in a lot of trouble. And I'd say the main culprits there are probably HTC again in a little bit with their new plastic version of their HTC One. And also I'd say Lenovo and especially in China, Xiaomi.
I've never heard of that.
It's that one that's XAIOMI.
Cleared it right
Yeah.
up.
Anyway, yeah, I honestly had been looking at the thing for months before I even realized that that was how it was pronounced. I'd heard Xiaomi mentioned on videos and I'd seen it spelled out in articles, but I hadn't actually made the connection that they were the same company.
Nice. You know, I guess I guess the best way to kind of see is just I guess waiting to see how it plays out for Samsung. But the thing is, Samsung's a huge corporation. Like they're not just smartphones. They're smartphones. They're, say for example, they're monitors. They're TVs. They're like anything electronic.
Appliances,
They're anything. If it plugs into a wall, Samsung has part of it. Like they are huge as well.
So they built most of the components as well.
So like I think if something ends up bad ends up happening to the like say one of their phone markets, I honestly think it wouldn't even hurt them a ton. It would definitely be worse for them, but I don't even think it would set them back a ton. Just because they have so much.
I think you'd be surprised how much of a
phones are a large part of it.
Smartphones. So I'm not going to say that if Samsung's smartphone business fails, they're going to go bankrupt or anything like that. But it is a significant, at least 2-digit percentage of their overall profits, at least. I'm not sure about revenues.
Yeah, it is definitely probably one of their bigger or more the thing that gets more sales for them. But I still think that I guess I can't really say if they're going to do bad or not, but I think it's going to be fairly easy for them to either spend money on advertising like they've done or just transition more heavily into something else just because of how big they are. Which is just an opinion, but I have absolutely no clue what will really happen. Or even if they are going to go, or even if their phone market does go bad, I'm not sure.
I'll go back to the other bed on the other side.
Do you want to just bring it over? Or you can bring it over once you sleep in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Samsung's strategy, and this has been their strategy for decades, and not just in the smartphone business, but it's to completely flood the market with every combination and permutation of features and products imaginable, and then capitalizing on the ones that sell best and are most popular.
I think that's a good plan.
So, I think it's working. Really good plan as well. It definitely works for them. It makes a lot of money, and I'd argue that it is healthy for the entire business. So when the original iPhone came out and caused all of those shockwaves, oh my god, this is how we're designing smartphones from now on. Samsung, in the next couple of years, they flooded the market with every kind of phone you can imagine. All sorts of sizes, different processors, powers, different interface systems, styluses, not styluses, high resolution, low resolution.
Wait, did you say styluses, not styluses?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean stuff with
phones with styluses, phones without styluses.
I thought you were talking about just a stylus, like no phone. You're like styluses, and they also sold something, but it was nothing, and I was getting very confused.
No, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. I'll go get some more sand to make some more glass.
By the way, how is this looking, and what can I do to improve it?
I quite like that. I think we should probably close it off at the top with make it look like it's built into the mountain.
Yeah.
So continue the look of the cliff so that it goes over the top. But I think other than that, we've just got to work on the inside now.
Cool. Oh, I don't have a craft. No, I'll just.
So yeah, the original iPhone comes out. Samsung floods the market with every type of permutation and combination of different features and specs that they can imagine. And they find out that phones like the Galaxy S series, the ones with the larger screen and that specific segment of features seems to sell particularly well. They make that their flagship and they put a huge amount of develop into it. So while it can be argued, and Apple has argued for a long time, that this sort of attitude infringes upon their patents and damages innovation and limits their... why would anyone innovate if you could just copy like that? I'd argue that that method is actually healthy for the industry. It helps everyone, not just Samsung, figure out what type of device that consumers want and what they're most likely to buy.
Like, say some people don't have $600 to spend on a phone outright, so like, I think it's good to give options for those people, which being able just flooding the market with different stuff, it not only figures out what consumers want, but also lets you basically reach the entire consumer base. Like, there's nobody basically left out.
Yeah, so it allows companies to more quickly make products that people are likely to buy, and it forces them to innovate more, because otherwise, if you don't innovate very quickly, Samsung's going to catch up with you and then you're in trouble. The problem with that is that in quite a large part it relies on other companies to come up with the groundbreaking ideas, right? So
yeah, I can see that.
You can see that, and I'm not saying that Samsung's just mooching off the success of other companies. They've got a perfectly legitimate business strategy that works, benefits a large number of people, but it does rely on someone else pioneering the category in question, whether it's Apple with the iPhone or the iPads. They didn't pioneer the iWatch area, but
then again, most things that can be said about most companies, because most companies base what they're going to do off of what other companies have done before, and either what those said companies have failed on or just decide to improve on. Like, most companies have had a different company to base their starting point off already.
Yeah, I think absolutely, and even Apple is a major culprit of taking the ideas of other people. I mean, if you look at the grand list of things that Apple has actually invented, individual inventions, the list isn't very long. I mean, maybe their unibody construction method, but I mean, that had been used for aircraft before, but no one had used it for consumer electronics. But maybe the click wheel, but things like the ones they're usually credited with, like the mouse and the graphical user interface, they simply took something that someone else had made and repurposed it in a way that was actually sold well, which is almost exactly what Samsung was doing with smartphones. But I'd say the problem with Samsung's model is, honestly, innovation in the smartphone space has stagnated quite a bit in the last few years.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's
really just been upgrades.
Yeah, so larger screens, faster processors, higher resolution, better battery life, all incremental upgrades. And there have been very few things that have caused people to say, wow, that's really cool. I mean, the first one that comes to mind within the last couple of years is Apple's fingerprint sensor on their iPhones.
But that's the fingerprint sensor has been around for a long time.
It's been around for a long time, but actually saying, oh, cool, we can actually use it. And Yeah, I know. Apple's
However,
the first one to put it in a smartphone, and
even though that was really cool as an innovation thing, is some companies, ow, I fell again, might not be wanting to innovate stuff like this because do you use the fingerprint sensor a ton? Like, did you have a fingerprint sensor?
I do.
Do you find it more gimmicky, or do you use it every time you unlock your phone?
Honestly, I've got a 99% success rate with the thing, but
Like, I mean, like, do you use it a lot? Or
yeah, I use it every time I unlock my phone. But I have seen people for whom it just doesn't seem to work with them. Maybe it's something with their fingers or the way
yeah,
they
have
hold
bad
it.
fingers.
I don't know. So for me, yes, I use it a lot, but I freely admit that I'm one of the people that it actually works really well with.
Because, yeah, I know some people have gotten the phones, but just haven't really used the actual fingerprint sensor portion of it very much. Which, maybe that's just personal preference of some people. But, yeah. But that's always the risk as well with innovating as well. What if the consumers don't like it? Then it's like you just put a ton of money into figuring out how to get this thing to work, and then it just, nothing happens.
Yeah, so I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. But the reason I think Samsung's in trouble is that, honestly, I think the smartphone market's going through three stages. First of all, pioneering the new design, which Apple is usually given credit for with the original iPhone. Secondly, is fine-tuning or finding the right specification of that thing that's going to sell really well, which Samsung did a great job of, sold millions and millions and millions of devices under that methodology. I think the third stage is really fine-tuning the design to get a really fine-tuned and comprehensive blend of those different features. And I honestly don't think Samsung's very good at that. I think smaller, more innovative companies like Xiaomi or even Lenovo.
However, I don't necessarily 100% agree with all of, like, because I believe actually Samsung does innovate a little bit, like not necessarily create new features, but maybe it's not innovating, but like perfecting features as well. Like, for example, the Samsung, they are actually the first people to make a 4K monitor, which basically, as a lot of hype has been, is 2014 was the year of 4K, which 4K monitors were extremely expensive, and they were, except Samsung was the very first person to bring out a monitor that was actually semi-possible to buy. It was like $700 compared to like the previous $2,000, which is something that I really like about Samsung, being that they're a huge company. They can put the money into making something where you can get stuff at lower price, and I feel like that's end up dropping the prices a ton of other products as well. And other companies now started also making cheaper models that you can, I guess, compare with, which is something that it's not necessarily innovation. It's just something that they've, I guess, improved on.
Well, I'd say that their movements in the 4K television and even, curved display.
Yeah, along
technology,
with LG. LG's been good with
and
the
LG as
curve
well. I definitely classify that as innovation and very good examples of it. I'm just not sure that the same applies to the smartphone section of their business.
And that might be that maybe they're, and I'm not sure, but maybe even they're trying to transition to more of, or trying to make the monitor and television part of their market bigger. And maybe they're just putting more effort into that because they're trying to grow that part of, or portion of their market. And maybe they're not necessarily transitioning to that only, but maybe just putting a little bit more of their time into it so that they can grow it more.
Yeah, I think another thing to remember is that Samsung is a highly segregated business, so you've got completely different teams and leadership working on displays than you do on smartphones.
Yeah, well, then again, like with how big Samsung's market stretches, do you want somebody that's making your iPhone to also be making your dishwasher? Like,
Yeah, we had all these brilliant new ideas for features for the phone, guys.
wash your dishes
But
with
we
your
ran out
phone.
But we ran out of time to look at this dishwasher we came up with instead.
Yeah, I think there comes to a point where I know displays and monitors, those can be kind of similar. They're different, but they can be viewed as similar because there's a, I guess, monitor or display on a phone. But it's kind of one of those things where you almost want different teams because they are different markets and different things you have to think about when manufacturing them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess we'll look at Samsung's market share over the next year of smartphone sales, and if they do fantastic, you win, and if they absolutely don't, I win and get to rub it in their faces.
And I guess we'll have to see if they stick with smartphones as being their main market as well.
Yeah, because if you ask most people, what Samsung's most famous for,
Yeah.
I think a significant number of people will say smartphones.
Yeah, and that's also probably the thing about it is it's a smaller market in other like for any brand. It's a smaller market if you go to a gaming brand with 4K monitors and stuff like that. Like that is a smaller market in general, so less people are going to know about it, and that is also something completely true as well. As people will know their smartphones more than basically everything else they have.
Are you ready to sleep, by the way?
No, you can just sit there. No. Good. Did you not bring over the bed yet?
I'll bring it this time, I promise.
I won't let you forget. Okay, bring the bed.
Thanks.
But yeah, that'll happen. So stay tuned till next year.
Yeah.
Same day, same time.
September 23rd, 2015. At 8 o'clock p.m.
8? Nah, that's a bit... Oh, are you going to upload at 8? Is that your upload time?
Actually,
Because
no.
I think it's coming out on Friday, so... This is coming out on Friday, not on Tuesday.
And that's not even today's date. Okay.
Well, the effort was there. It's in 2015. There, we got that part right.
No, it's 2014.
No, shut up. It's going to be 2015. Well, so I think we've touched on most of the facts from Samsung, right?
Yeah, I think so. Got two completely different perspectives out of the thing.
Mm-hmm. And obviously mine's more correct, as all of you will agree. No. Let's create a flame war in the comments section.
Yeah, I know. I might not be an extremist Apple fanboy, but I'm sure I can probably get them on my side for this debate.
Yeah. Well, I think you have more of a population to grab from.
Yes, come on, fellow Apple fans. Let us stand triumphant over the body of Nemesis.
Nemesis Samsung. Okay, we need to get a beacon in here at some point. I think we should make that a goal. I know a beacon is a very longer term goal, but do you know how much easier this would be with like a Haste 2 beacon?
Do you have any idea how much easier this would be with the efficiency 4 pickaxe?
Wait. Let's go look at our reeds.
I've been replanting them.
But
And
how many do we have?
over here in this chest, I've got 1 stack and 20. How much do we need? We need 45 times 3, right?
Sure.
Because we need 45 leather,
Yeah.
right? Or 15
Yeah.
times...
No, but we need 3 books. Never mind. Never mind. Wow, you've planted a lot. Well, technically, we could make it right now if we just dug them all up, I think.
Yeah, so that's what, 135? By the way, this is so getting split into 2 episodes.
How long have we been going for?
Well, how many days?
Oh,
long?
right, because, yeah, it's like 15 minutes per day / night, isn't it? Ooh. Well,
It's 10
part
minutes
1,
per
part 2.
daytime, and we've had a few of them.
So, yeah, it's probably been going for like 45 minutes. It's because you talk too much.
That's so totally not the point of this thing.